I have another spooky story for you guys. This one was submitted by someone who just went on a casual date with a guy. And not too long after, things started to get really weird. So the story reads, I went on a date with a guy I met on a dating app, and I'm still not sure what really happened afterward. At first, he seemed perfectly normal. His name was Daniel, and we actually had some mutual friends, but we'd only seen each other in passing. He had a decent job, he had a nice smile, and he didn't give me any strange vibes when we were on our date. We met for coffee and he was polite, but I kind of felt like he was a little bit too quiet for my taste. Afterward, he texted me a few times, but I didn't really feel any spark, so I just gave polite responses and didn't encourage him to continue contacting me. After a while, he stopped texting me, so I thought that was just the end of it. But a few days later, weird things started happening. The first thing I noticed was my porch light. I'd come home from work and it would be flickering like the bulb was about to go out. Sometimes it would buzz, other times it would dim and brighten like something was interfering with it. I changed the bulb twice, but it kept happening, so I ended up calling an electrician to come and check it out. Well, they said the bulb and wiring were both perfectly fine. Then, one night, I pulled into my driveway after dark and I thought I saw someone standing at the far end of my yard. I squinted and it looked like someone tall in dark clothing, but as soon as my headlights hit that spot, it was empty. I told myself it was probably just the shadows or the streetlights or something like that. The problem is, it kept happening. Almost every night after that, when I'd come home, I'd get this overwhelming feeling that someone was watching me. Sometimes I'd look out the window and swear I saw a man standing just beyond the reach of the porch light. Then I started getting some really strange text messages. Daniel would message me at really strange hours, sometimes between midnight or 3 a.m. He asked me some really strange questions, like, do you ever feel lonely in that nice house? Or, do you ever feel like you're screaming and no one can hear you? I never told him where I lived, and I hadn't shared my address, my neighborhood, or anything that would identify where I lived. One night, I was so freaked out about his text that I sat up in my bed and peeked out my window. I noticed the porch light was flickering again. I pulled the curtain back just an inch, and my heart dropped. There was someone standing at the edge of my yard, staring right at my window. I slammed the curtain shut and jumped out of bed to make sure every door and window was locked, and then I called a friend to stay on the phone with me until the sun came up. After that night, I blocked his number and deleted the dating app where I met him. I removed the porch light entirely and bought blackout curtains and made every effort to get home before dark. Months later, I ran into a mutual acquaintance who actually knew Daniel. She mentioned him in passing, saying how awful it was what happened. Confused, I asked her what she meant. Well, she told me that Daniel had actually died in a car accident about 2 weeks before our first date. Needless to say, I was shocked. I told her about our date, the text, and what I thought was Daniel standing outside my house. She insisted that was absolutely impossible and showed me the invite to his vigil on her phone. And sure enough, there was Daniel's picture. I went to pull up the text to prove to her that Daniel and I had been texting, but all the texts were gone. I still have no explanation for where they went, and that's when it hit me. I think the person that I met for coffee was impersonating Daniel. I don't know how that's possible, but the person looked exactly like him. And I also think whatever was standing outside of my house, waiting to be invited in, wasn't Daniel either. And here's the real kicker. I found out from our mutual friend that the accident that Daniel was in had occurred just a couple of blocks away from me. About 3 months later, I got a relocation opportunity with my job and moved out of state. Thankfully, I haven't seen the dark shadow or received any texts from Daniel since. This story really creeped me out because I can't tell if she's right and there was someone actually impersonating Daniel, or is it possible that she just saw Daniel's ghost? So what do you guys think of this story? Leave your thoughts down in the comments and don't forget to like and follow for more spooky stories.